Well, Adidas is claiming that sneaker website Soul Retriever stole images of upcoming shoe releases from NBA players Anthony Edwards and Donovan Mitchell, and then tried to use them to extort the company for special treatment. So to give us more insight into this story and a whole bunch more, let's bring in sneaker and culture writer Ian Stonebrook. Ian, thank you so much for joining us. Explain a little bit more about this situation and what's really behind this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, sneakers leaking ahead of release date is not new. Sneakers being stolen a year ahead is pretty unprecedented. So that's why this is a little different than some of the similar situations we see with product getting out early. And yeah, the extortion aspect of it definitely ups the ante as well.
Okay, so I guess why would a place like Soul Retriever want to extort this information? Is this for, exclusivity on like the news, breaking the scoops? It seems like there's a little bit of blackmail, it feels like almost in this.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for Soul Retriever, obviously, because I don't know how they feel, but I know having been in similar positions before, that one, leaks are the lifeblood of a sneaker blog. That is, when you look at an audience, there's nothing more exciting than seeing what could be rather than even what is. So the fact to have access to leaked product that's like gold for page views and
Mhm.
engagement. Why they would blackmail, well, I can never condone that. But I do know the timing aligns with when Adidas was having media out in China for the AE2 launch, the second Anthony Edwards shoe. So I can understand not being upset. You know what I mean? Like as media people, and we don't have access to stuff or invites, it can feel like a slap in the face, even if it's not intentional. So I could see, feel like you're doing a good job every day recovering the news, and you're not getting the kind of light at the end of the tunnel invites. Yeah, it can be upsetting.
Well, I guess from somebody who covers sneaker culture, I guess you would think that this is such proprietary information that they would have this stuff under lock and key. I guess give us some insight into the sneaker design process that somebody would be able to get this stuff. I mean, was it leaked?
Yeah, I mean, this is pretty different because usually if product leaks, it usually leaks through the process of sales samples being put out, which is kind of more of like a 6 to 8 month lead time rather than a signature shoe design, which is, 12 to 18-month window. So typically when product leaks, you're looking at, a store is being shown what's coming out for the holiday season per se in the summer. Somebody takes a photo just so that their buyers know what's coming. That photo somehow ends up online, and because it's online material, a sneaker blog publishes it. This is different where this is actual documents
Uh-huh.
from Adidas internal. And I mean, that's pretty high level espionage. Sometimes that stuff makes it out and once it's online, it's fair game for everybody. And to be honest, as a sneaker blog, you're playing from behind if you don't post it. But to actually break a leak, and like I said, a leak of a signature shoe still in the sketch stages while the previous model is about to hit market is a timeline and a level of, I guess, intensity, that we haven't seen yet.
I guess for a lot of us also, like, we're not familiar with the sneaker industry as much as you are, but most people we've talked to say that they're not really surprised by this. I guess, is that a similar a take from you? And I guess why?
I guess surprised by the leak or surprised by the lawsuit?
I would say both.
Well, yeah, I'd say both are fairly they're not both aren't without precedent. We've seen Nike go after, customizers and people that kind of work with their IP in ways that are maybe a little gray. So brands suing or threatening legal action against independent creators, right or wrong, is much more normal than it was, in the heyday of the sneaker blog media. As far as stuff leaking, like I said, shoes leak every day, release dates leak every day, and most people go off either speculative sketches of what something could look like, or the little product details that find their way online through word of mouth, or internal brand connects that have friends to do it. To have the actual sketch of a shoe that, by my estimate, won't come out either till this fall or holiday season, a year ahead of time, or 8 to 10 months, is pretty unique. So I think that's why Adidas is taking the steps that they're taking, because the element of surprise and basically runway and launching a signature shoe, as I said, is really expensive and really important. So if you have product that either feels old once it has the chance to be new, that's no good for you as a brand. Or if you have product that hasn't come out yet and is essentially stepping on your product that's out right now, it's not great for sales either. So I understand why they feel the way they feel.
That's really interesting. There's nothing illegal, or is there something illegal here? Or have any laws really been broken here? Or is this just somebody trying to scoop a story?
Well, I think it's only illegal if the images are stolen and they're able to prove that.
Right.
And it's only extortion if that's how that reads, you know what I mean? Like I said, I can understand from Soul Retrievers, side of things, then they do a great job in presenting content. It is tough because you're not necessarily a partner with these brands. You're promoting their product, one could say, but you're not necessarily getting paid to do so. So if they're not offering you opportunities to enhance the quality of your work, like going on a media trip, having access to the talent, that is tough as a publisher. And then if you have this leak, stolen or not, stolen I can't condone, but if it's public, it's fair game. That could make you a lot of money through page user engagement. I can understand how they felt the way they felt.
Uh-huh.
Doesn't condone theft or extortion, but I can understand the feeling.
Talk a little bit about what these shoe companies are up against here. I mean, would you say that sneaker culture is still at such a heightened demand here that you have to protect all of this stuff? Or do you think that sneaker culture has evolved and changed that, like if this gets revealed, obviously it's not as big of a deal as maybe say it would have been a few years ago? I guess give us some insight into how these shoe companies are operating nowadays.
It's a big deal that they got scooped on that. Like, this is not a colorway of the Samba that's gonna release at the mall in 2 months, leaking before it goes online. This is your signature stars having his design leaked while his current design is going to market. So that's a big deal. As far as the other question, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Oh, it was just like, give us some insight into the sneaker wars and sneaker culture right now that they want to keep all of this stuff so secure and locked up.
Yeah, I mean, I think every brand wants to do their own storytelling now. And I can understand that because, we'd probably write our own autobiographies before we had a reporter, do it for us. But at the same time, too, these blogs have kind of been an unpaid cog in the storytelling of these products. So a lot of shoes are sitting or missing the mark because they're not being story told around. So how that is resolved, it's $1,000,000 question that would, behoove me well to know, but it is a odd space where you hate to see the media and a brand become this adversarial.
You mentioned obviously Anthony Edwards, a really, really big deal in the sneaker industry. Who else is even above him? Maybe Caitlin Clark or whom else that you feel like brands would lose their mind over something just as similar?
I don't think anyone has the gravity of Anthony Edwards right now in terms of being the player who has the popularity and performance on court and in the market with a shoe. I mean, Ja Morant recently had his Nike shoe leak, and obviously Ja's having an up and down season, but he's still the guy at Nike in terms of sales, you know? Same with LaMelo Ball at Puma. So those would be the closest contemporaries to Anthony Edwards. I think the difference is Anthony is still undoubtedly in his prime as a player, where the other athletes are maybe a little bit in a purgatory place where their line goes next.
Do you think other brands are watching with this lawsuit? What other brands do you think are watching how this lawsuit sort of plays out here?
I'm sure they're watching just because they have to be privy of it, but to keep it a buck, I think the brands have done a better job at keeping product under wraps, than they ever did when I was reporting full time on it. I think the basic example is NBA All-Star Weekend. We had major launches from Adidas, Nike, Jordan brand that I, as a writer, would usually be privy by brands to know about this stuff a month before it happens. And both the market and the media were shocked with a lot of the stuff that came out. So as a consumer, you love the element of surprise. And it worked really well for Adidas with Health Star on the A2, Nike with their warning label pack. Jordan brand did a lot of interesting things around the Air Jordan 6 and ancillary product. So yeah, the brands are doing a much better job despite this big flare up. But how it plays out looking in the future, I'm sure everybody's gonna be watching. That's for sure.
Ian, we'll get you out of here on this. Anything else you're watching with this story on how it sort of relates to sneaker culture?
Yeah, I mean, I really think it comes down to an education of, is this theft and is this extortion? You know what I mean? If it is, yeah, it's a slap on the wrist, and like everybody knows if they play that way, there are punishments that come. If it's not, then things should go as as scheduled. You know what I mean? Like Soul Retriever is not under contract by Adidas, obviously to my understanding. So they have to feed their fan base and put food on the table the same. So I'm curious to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, it's me as well. What a wild story. Sneaker and culture writer Ian Stonebrook. Ian, thank you so very much for joining us and giving us some info on this.
Hey, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And stay with Front Office Sports, everyone, for more on the business and culture of sports.